Take a deep breath and exhale, hockey fans. It's been a big, wild day in the NHL, and that means major implications for your fantasy team. Big time trades, big time news, and everything in between on today's episode. Let's get right to it.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
My friends, the NHL is wild open, and that means it is open season on news. Time for the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Alongside my esteemed co-host, Mr. Steel Roden, it's your boy, Big Flip Livingstone. We are here for a major end-of-the-week Friday episode. All kinds of news to break down. We got Vladimir Tarasenko. There's a lot of ways that we're going to take this on today's episode. Jack Hughes is out. We got news out of the Calgary Flames, a random injury to one of their biggest defensemen, one of their most important pieces. Speaking of which, same kind of injury news out of the Colorado Avalanche, Steel. We got big-time bets to get to, major implications across the NHL and across the fantasy world. Thank you for making us your first listen every single day. I can't wait to get to the rest of today's episode, Steel. But first, we got to show that love because today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. My man, we're going to get to all of this news about Jack Hughes. We're going to get to this very weird situation and incident, with the D-man Rasmus Andersson from the Calgary Flames. We're going to talk about Cale Makar as well because, Steel, that was a weird injury as well. We got big-time bets to get to. I'm fired up, but mostly because the dominoes are starting to fall now, my friend. And Vladimir Tarasenko to the New York Rangers, a team we've talked a lot about. You and I haven't mentioned anything about what we think so far. What do you think about this deal? Tarasenko going to the New York Rangers. I'll let you break it all down. I won't even give what the picks, what the prospects are, because I have a feeling you have that ready to go.
Yeah, I think at first glance, I'll just list it or rattle it off right now. Rangers acquire Vladimir Tarasenko and defenseman Nico Mikkola from the St. Louis Blues. And the Blues acquire Sammy Blais, a guy that has been on their team in the past, prospect Hunter Skinner, and a conditional first-round pick for 2023 and a conditional fourth-round pick in 2024. And at first glance, I believe it's a very fair trade. It's very even in the sense that each team gets what they're looking for. Especially the big one out of here, Vladimir Tarasenko. He gets a change of scenery. It was looming. It was on the verge of happening. We knew it was going to happen at some point, just didn't know when. And I think the Rangers get their guy. Obviously with all the speculation and rumors surrounding what are they going to do, take a look at Patrick Kane. But if you go down that route, like we've talked about so many times, you have to sell the farm. You have to sell some of those valuable young pieces that you have. And the Rangers didn't have to do that with with acquiring Vladimir Tarasenko. So that number one is that the Rangers don't have to sell the bank or break the bank on this trade. They get Tarasenko and a defenseman that can jump in on the third pairing. And we know what Mikkola can do. He's a gritty, physical guy who takes the body. That's his game. And you get a prolific goal scorer in Vladimir Tarasenko, probably the last remaining goal scorer out there that is in that free agent trade blocking right now. And the Rangers get their guy. It just adds another boost of offense to their lineup. I think it adds value to fantasy value for Vladimir Tarasenko as well, because now he's playing with Mika Zibanejad and Artemi Panarin. You've got Chris Kreider on the second line who can jump up and down the lineup as well. The power play is going to look absolutely deadly. So this is an all-time high for Vladimir Tarasenko's fantasy value, I think, going to a team like this. It's great for the Rangers organization. And honestly, I think the rest of the teams in the Metropolitan Division should be a little scared right now. Teams like the Devils, the Capitals, the Penguins, even the Hurricanes right now, because both the Islanders and Rangers have made the first moves. Islanders go out and get prolific goal scorer Bo Horvat. He's already got on the board. He's got that off his back. He doesn't have to worry about it. And now the Rangers go out and get Vladimir Tarasenko and bolster up their right wing. So this is a very scary deal for the teams in the Metropolitan Division. And the Rangers and Islanders, look very good right now.
right off the bat, I think this is now going to mean a bunch of subsequent moves from a bunch of teams, maybe right back in this division steal, like you're kind of hinting at. Some of these two, now we've seen the cards from the New York teams. What are the rest? New Jersey Devils have been in the mix as one of those teams who have been interested in a lot of players. And this is how I want to take this, because I agree with you. Aside from the season where he came off 40 goals and 74 points, I would say this is Tarasenko's biggest opportunity to really be a fantasy stud down the stretch. And I'm very intrigued to see what his goal scoring ability can do when he's getting past the biscuit from Breadman. That's going to be absolutely fun to watch. And I think now, not only should the rest of the Metro Conference be on notice, the rest of the Eastern Conference and the rest of the NHL should be on notice, because this New York Rangers team is not messing around now. And we know they have Igor Shesterkin. We know they have the Jacob Trubas and the Adam Foxes of the world and all the pieces to really make some noise in the playoffs. And now here we go, Steele, because the next few weeks is going to be fast and furious. And let me hit you with this take, and I had to write this down before, so let me go to my notes. But the reason that Patrick Kane didn't go to the Rangers, and I think this really closes the chapter on that, because it leaves open the Rangers' opportunity to make some maybe more minor moves, is that hip injury nagging with Patrick Kane. The fact that he looked so close to going to New York and didn't, the rumors are out there that that hip is really going to be something that might hold him back and keep him in Chicago. That's number one. And number two, I think the price on Timo Meier is going to be very high. I think that's what this shows us here. The package that they had to give up for Tarasenko, I think that's what this really indicates for me. And really, at the end of the day, I mentioned it very quickly. This Tarasenko Panarin combination, I think, might be absolutely huge for the New York Rangers, who, like you and I have said at length, already have the goaltender in the crease to really steal them a number of playoff series. I just think the rest of the Eastern Conference and the rest of the teams around the league really need to take note now, because things are about to get spicy, especially with all these injuries that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, and you mentioned Timo Meier. Maybe that's a guy that the Devils go out and try to target as well before the trade deadline. We've talked about this a couple of episodes ago. I think they might have to. And, even with the Hurricanes, even how great the Hurricanes are, the injury to Max Pacioretty, now that he's done for the rest of the year, it leaves a hole on the team. We've talked about Paul Stastny and Jordan Staal. Like, we love their game and they're great guys, great players. But at this time in their career, at this age, they're not going to be the guys that get it done. You've got Aho and Svechnikov. We're trying to do it, as well as Nate Cash on the come up, a little bit, a couple of other younger guys. Hopefully Brent Burns and Frederick Andersson can stay healthy at the same time. But the Hurricanes might have to make a move as well if they want to keep up with the Rangers and the rest of the Metro division as well.
They might be behind the eight ball. A number of teams might be. But now that the New Jersey Devils, quick interlude, Jack Hughes, we were talking this player up at length just yesterday, Steele, on our top players, 22 or under in the league, and he still is that. Let's be honest, he still is that. But this is a tough blow for a team now, Steele. Now those moves by New York, both New York teams are really putting the pressure on in New Jersey. Jack Hughes goes down. Lindy Ruff, there's some weirdness going around this one a little bit. And that's just for me. I'm not trying to make something of nothing. He leaves practice early on Wednesday, and the coach immediately comes out that he didn't re-aggravate it in practice. If you didn't re-aggravate it in practice, why are you so boldly and stately coming out and saying this? That's just me, Steele. Hughes goes down. That's the main takeaway here. This is huge for fantasy owners who might have Jack Hughes on a major tear. Something tells me there's a lot of GMs out there with how good Jack Hughes has been this year and where you probably got him in the draft that are sniffing around for the top spot. Huge blow to the New Jersey Devils. That's a fact.
Yeah, and the fact that he's out week to week as well just makes it worse. He's not even day to day, so he's out for at least a week. Upper body injury. And again, like what you said, you and I have talking about just yesterday. Literally, just yesterday, how this guy has played the entire season so far.
And how key that's been for the Devils' success.
Yeah, he's played 50 games. He's 67 points. They're top three in the Metropolitan
Division.
Third in goals. They go on that absolute crazy, 13, 14 game win streak or whatever it was back in October, November. It was absolutely insane in what he's been able to do. So, hopefully it wasn't our fault. We didn't jinx him too much, but I don't know, man. Yeah, exactly. The Devils
That's
are going to
just
have to make something work now before the trade deadline because of the pressure the Islanders and Rangers are putting on them. Like this is a very young team still. And Jack Hughes being the leader, obviously not the captain, but the leader on the team at 21 years old, it's incredible. So this is a tough news for fantasy owners who have Jack Hughes. He's going to be shelved for the next week, maybe even 2. Hopefully he comes back sooner than later. And can continue to help the Devils' success. But the Devils are going to have to make something happen before March 4th, the trade deadline.
And I expect them to be active. I also expect us to break down a lot more on this show. We're going to get to the big time bets at the end of the episode. Both Steele and I starting to heat up a little bit here, people. So you want to stay tuned for those bets. But we got to talk about a couple of big time injuries to some D-men in the West Coast, in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Rasmus Andersson, Cale Makar. We're going to break that down because honestly, Steele, Rasmus Andersson is obviously not in the realm of Cale Makar, but he might be just as important to the success of the Calgary Flames because of how much he plays a little bit of everywhere. So we're going to get there. And what you need to get to is FanDuel. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And this year, man, I'm fired up for the Super Bowl, Steele. And this year, the only app you need for the Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. We are beyond excited for our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the #1 sports book in America, FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now and you can bet on Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet, where you'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't hit. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to the point spreads to who will score a first touchdown. Steele and I are going to be sprinkling a bunch of different bets, so stay tuned to the Twitter account where we're going to post some of those bets with FanDuel odds. The FanDuel Sportsbook and app is safe, secure, and easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly when you hit a quick bet. Get your money in your account. I love the ease and accessibility of the FanDuel app. Join today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Don't forget, we are free and available on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. So hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. Flip and I appreciate all the love, all the support our listeners show us every single day. Once again, we are so close to 800 subscribers on YouTube. We're working our way to 1,000. We're creeping our way up there, big guy. We'll get there soon enough. But again, thank you so much for all the love and support. We are going to get to big time bets at the end of the episode. Like Flip said, we're doing a little better after the NHL All-Star break. We're starting to heat up. Let's continue on that success. We're not. We're too hot right now. We got to keep the love going and all the success going.
Yes, sir.
But we got to talk about some injuries to some key defenseman players. One on the Colorado Avalanche, one on the Calgary Flames. Let's start with Cale Makar, though. Definitely a tough injury to happen. I don't know if you saw the play, but
I did.
Yeah, Jeff Carter, swinging in. He jumps off the bench. He's swinging in, trying to get the puck in and get into the play. And I don't know if it was on purpose or it was on accident. It's kind of hard to tell at that time. And, when it goes fast paced, but yeah, it was a shoulder to the chin and he goes down immediately. He's skating off the ice. His body language, you could tell he
ended up playing some of the end of that game from what I read. But I don't know what you think, Steele. To me, and we've seen a lot of whiplashy type injuries in the NHL over the last number of years. For some reason, especially with our team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, in the goaltending area, Frederik Andersson and James Reimer seemingly taking a bunch of these whiplashy injuries where they don't necessarily get a direct blow to the head, but that almost causes them more injury in the neck, in the spine, and in the head. And look, you and I are not doctors. You and I are not scouts. We're not any of that. And me especially. And I'm not going to speculate, but I do know this, and I know sports. This guy is so important to the Colorado Avalanche that he is even close to not feeling 100% with this type of injury. They are going to have to put the kid gloves on and really, really be very cautious with this injury, Steele. 2 games. He's not with the team for the end of the trip. He's been sent home. I think this might be a very serious issue if it even goes one or two more games down the stretch because of how important he is and how close this Colorado Avalanche team has been to teetering on the edge of really good and near disaster. And here's another blow to them, Steele, when they were getting healthy. I don't know what
Yeah.
you think, but this Cale Makar, the way that I saw it go down, I'm a little bit wary, and I'm going to have my finger on the pulse here because, as fantasy GMs know, again, Cale Makar is going to make or break your season potentially. So maybe you'll be paying attention to Monday waiver wire if he's out more than these 2 games that he's expected to.
Yeah, I think at worst it's probably 4 games he'll be out. I know obviously it's minimum 2 games right now, but from what I saw, it was how quick it was. It was again, Jeff Carter flying off the bench, trying to get into play, and the shoulder makes direct contact with the chin. It was so fast that I didn't even see it at first. You got to watch the replay
it was fast.
to see exactly what happened, and he just clips the
Blind
chin
side.
with the shoulder. Yeah, a little bit of a blind side, but that's what happens when you're looking down at your feet. You're trying to grab the puck as well. So it just happens sometimes, but hopefully he comes back. And like you said, as we were just talking about the Avalanche getting healthy, this happens to their star defense.
One thing after another, man. One guy comes back, another guy goes down, and also very quickly. Go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
It's just crazy. They win the Stanley Cup and everything just starts to fall apart with their players and how much time they've missed this season. It's crazy.
And the fact, though, that they still are sitting in a playoff spot right now. The playoffs start today. They're in there. They're the 3rd best team in that division. And, 12 points back of Dallas. But in my opinion, they're just as good as Dallas, if not better, even with the injuries. So, for me, though, Cale Makar is the ice time NHL leader this season. He has 13 goals and 45 points in 45 games. And he is so good that I don't even think maybe all the other injuries are as important. Now he's missed a couple of games. I think they've been able to get by without the rest, and that's been clear. Cale Makar cannot be not in that lineup for the Avs. Speaking of which, man, we're getting good at these segues and these interludes. Before we get to the bets very quickly, and I know this is a player that's actually near and dear to your heart because you've been talking about Rasmus Andersson as a guy who fills out the categories and as a guy who really deserves more love. And man, this season might be the epitome of that. 34 points in 51 games. He does a little bit of everything for the Calgary Flames, Rasmus Andersson. He gets clipped riding a scooter through a crosswalk, gets clipped by a car, and gets banged up decently enough that he has to go to the hospital, and he's going to miss a couple of games. Things are starting to go from bad to worse for this Calgary Flames team, Steele. And aside from the fantasy fill-in that you're going to need if you're a GM that owns Rasmus Andersson, I think I just need your take on this Calgary situation overall because things are starting to get real crooked with these Flames team. To me, I'm starting to bail out on some of these players that I have invested in this team, not named Nazem Kadri, and maybe that's it.
I think that is about it. And this is like a weird little thing that happened.
At least he's safe, right? He's good. He could have been
at least
worse.
He's safe. He's good. But this incident just kind of correlates and showcases the entirety of this season for the Calgary Flames. Like, the Calgary Flames have done everything right up until this point. They get the bad news that Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk are not going to be re-signing with the team. What do? Johnny Gaudreau goes into free agency, signs with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they trade Matthew Tkachuk on a monster deal. They get Huberdeau, they get Mackenzie Weegar, they have Jakob Markstrom, who was a top 3 Vezina last year. Everything looks great. Brad Treliving has done everything right. With all the news that has happened, and even this, again, you're going through a crosswalk on a scooter, you're doing everything right and proper, and you get clipped by a car, you end up in the hospital, and you're out day to day. So, it's just the epitome of what the Calgary Flames season has gone this season. And I have Rasmus Andersson. I traded for him a couple months ago, and look, I saw that news this morning. I looked back at my roster, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! I am fighting for a playoff spot right now. I'm sitting in 7th position in my keeper dynasty league. And I just got rid of all the injuries. I had 6 guys on the IR. All of them came back healthy. And then I get bad news like this. So
that's how it goes.
I'm thankful Anderson's safe and he's good. And I hopefully he gets back and he's healthy enough soon to get back with the team and the Calgary Flames and, kind of help my fantasy team going.
There you go. It's the selfishness that we're here for, Steele. The man's healthy.
Exactly.
Check. Get back on the ice and get me some points because it's almost playoff season for the fantasy cats, and it's time to get real serious. But in all seriousness, that
Yeah.
could have been a lot more of a scary situation. These are human beings at the end of the day. They have families, and he will be back. He will be back sooner than later. We hope that's when we're getting back to the fantasy side of things, Steele. Speaking of which, let's get back to the betting side of things in a hot minute.
Let's do it. We are heating up. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Don't forget, we are free and available on your favorite podcast platform and YouTube 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning is when our episodes release on your favorite podcast platform. And once again, thank you so much. We're going to try to return the favor now. Big time bets where the money is made. The last few nights since the NHL All-Star break, Flip, you and I have been pretty good. We're going 2 for 3. I think. Have you had a perfect night yet?
I had a perfect night Wednesday night. So I had a perfect
night.
3.
So 3 for 3 action, 2 for 3 action for myself over here. We're heating up a lot. Hey, look, I'm just happy that I'm not in that slump I was in before the NHL All-Star break. I come back on the better side here. The grass is greener on this side. I'll start us off if you don't mind. My first pick.
Please.
Easy money here. Maple Leafs on the money line against the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's the easy pick. I'm making all 3 of these picks into a parlay as well. So
yeah, hit me.
Maple Leafs money line.
Yeah, look, Steele, that made sense to me. I looked at it, but there's something weird about this back-to-back that's not sitting right with me as a bettor and as a Maple Leafs fan. I think the Leafs are going to lose or blow an egg in at least 1 or 2 of both of these games. That might be a bold take considering how bad the Columbus Blue Jackets are. I'm just staying away, and I got another big flip triple dip up my sleeve. And I went with it, the New York Islanders the other night. Mixed results. We're going to break that down tomorrow. But when I look at what's going on, and I wrote these picks down before Vlad Tarasenko got aboard the New York Rangers, and I was really feeling this spot at home for the New York Rangers and Steel. I didn't even realize that Matty Beniers is still dealing with injury. I thought the NHL All-Star break was going to bring him back to health. It looks like he won't be playing again. So he's dealing with this. And you talked about how important he's been to this team. Burakovsky on IR. Justin Schultz might miss the game. Jaden Schwartz, he's out. Matty Beniers looking like he's out. This looks like a spot for the New York Rangers. Now the momentum is behind them. They also had a 5-4 win against the Flames, a 4-3 win against the Canucks. I'm going to be hitting this with the Seattle at New York game. Flip triple dip. New York Rangers on the puck line. That's my first pick. Give me the under 6.5. I'm feeling it confident tonight, Steele. I think the Rangers are going to show out. Even if Tarasenko doesn't make the lineup, they're investing in this team, and I think they're going to be very fired up. But I think Shesterkin's going to steal the show here. And with all those offensive pieces out for the Seattle Kraken that I mentioned, I think this is going to be a tough spot for them to get up. That's why I like the under. I'm going to tease it to 6.5. And if he's in the lineup, I love this bet for sure. If he's not in the lineup, I still like it. Lock of the night, Artemi Panarin, anytime assist. Panarin's been feeding the puck around. He's got over 40 assists already this season, Steele. That's the big flip triple dip. I'm going to be parlaying them same game, and I will be betting them singularly tonight because I'm feeling them that much. And the puck line's going to get you a decent odd. Who else are you feeling, and are you feeling those more importantly?
Well, yeah, the Rangers on the money line. I might even take, with all these injuries that you're showcasing right now, I might even bump it up to the puck line for the Rangers.
I'm on the puck line, baby. I'm on the puck line.
I might stay with the money line, take the Rangers on the money line, put this in a parlay for myself. That is my lock of the night. My second pick, Penguins on the money line against the Anaheim Ducks. I'm taking some 3 favorites here and smashing them into a parlay. I might jump on that Artemi Panarin anytime assist as well. I'm not sure about the under though. I don't know if it's going to be under or over. I do trust your opinion.
Side bet?
No side bet. I trust your opinion, but I'm not
a full disagreement. You're just unsure.
Yeah, unsure about it. But those are the lock of the nights. Those are the bets, big time bets. And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. We are available Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube. And thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode with Flip and I. Have a great day. Good luck with all your bets out there. And we shall see you back here again on Monday.
Peace.